On a scorching summer day in 1214, the fate of empires hung by a thread, forged in blood and steel. France's king, Philip Augustus, nearly fell, his life teetering on the edge of an enemy blade. Across the Channel, another king faced utter ruin, his grand ambitions shattered on a distant battlefield. This was Bouvines, a single, brutal medieval battle that irrevocably rewrote the future of an entire continent. For centuries, Europe had been a shifting mosaic of kingdoms, ambitions clashing across ever-changing borders. New powers emerged, vying for dominance. Each monarch's decision could echo for generations. Kings like Philip Augustus, John Lackland, and Otto IV, each believing in their divine right. Their personal rivalries were not mere squabbles, they were battles for the very soul of Europe. In the early 13th century, a simmering tension reached its boiling point, demanding a reckoning. The stage was set for a conflict unlike any before, a clash that would define an era. Not just a battle for land or glory, but for the very future of nations and their identities. The geopolitical landscape of Western Europe was a tangled web of alliances and ancient feuds. The stakes were impossibly high. Victory meant power, defeat, oblivion for generations. In 1214, the chessboard of Europe was meticulously arranged, awaiting a decisive, brutal move. The forging of swords and the sharpening of ambitions heralded the approaching storm of conflict. Armies gathered, loyalties tested. A continent held its breath, awaiting the inevitable confrontation. It would be more than just a battle. It would be a crucible, refining the very essence of power. Rarely in history has a single day altered so much, shaping destinies far beyond its immediate impact. Generations would feel the ripple effects, from peasant to king, across every corner of the land. We ask, how did one medieval battle fundamentally reshape the continent for centuries to come? How did it forge France into a dominant power and set England on a path toward constitutionalism? Join us as we uncover the epic story of Bouvines, the battle that truly forged nations. The 13th century dawned upon a continent ablaze with ambition. Europe, a complex tapestry, was rife with tension. Beneath the surface of daily life, powerful rulers schemed, each vying for supremacy in a volatile age. Feudal loyalties, dynastic ties, and bitter rivalries formed the intricate web defining this era. At its heart stood France, led by a monarch whose vision would reshape the very fabric of Europe. Philip II, Augustus the God-given, a king of remarkable foresight and unwavering iron will. He systematically consolidated power, annexing lands, slowly forging a truly formidable French kingdom. Philip's reign brought unprecedented prosperity and order, cementing France as a continental powerhouse. He meticulously reformed his military, creating a professional fighting force ready to enforce his ambitions. Philip's ultimate goal: to liberate France from all foreign interference and dominate the West. Across the Channel, England endured the chaotic, often disastrous reign of its own controversial monarch. King John, volatile and unpredictable, alienated his nobles, pushing England to the brink of civil war. His military blunders led to significant losses, shattering English prestige and weakening royal authority. The Magna Carta, a forced concession, further eroded his power, limiting the crown's once absolute rule. Surrounded by enemies, both foreign and domestic, John's reign was a constant struggle for survival. John nursed a burning desire for revenge against Philip, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation. To the east, the Holy Roman Empire, a sprawling mosaic of states, struggled under a weakened emperor. Otto IV, once a symbol of imperial might, found his power steadily diminishing, his authority challenged. His excommunication by Pope Innocent III further crippled his standing, isolating him diplomatically. Local lords, sensing weakness, asserted greater independence, fragmenting the emperor's once vast domain. Otto's waning power meant he desperately sought alliances, offering a potent, if desperate, card in the game. This was a world bound by intricate feudal loyalties, oaths sworn, broken, and resworn in quick succession. Dynastic marriages forged fragile alliances, often uniting kingdoms for political gain. not affection. Territorial disputes simmered perpetually, each border a potential flashpoint for open, bloody conflict. The bloodlines of Europe's monarchs were deeply intertwined, making every conflict a family affair. Ambition and avarice fueled endless rivalries, making peace a fleeting, often impossible dream. The web of intrigue tightened, drawing major European powers into an inescapable, deadly embrace. As tensions mounted, the drums of war began to beat louder, signaling an impending, epic confrontation. By 1214, the intricate political threads had woven a tapestry of inevitability. War was coming. 3 kings, 3 empires on a collision course. The stage was set for a battle of titans. The seeds of conflict had been sown. Now, Europe braced for a harvest of blood and iron. After years of humiliation, King John of England sought revenge. A storm of ambition was brewing. His treasury depleted, his prestige shattered. John desperately needed allies against Philip Augustus. John envisioned a bold, multi-pronged attack, believing it was his only path to reclaiming lost lands. Secret envoys fanned out across Europe, carrying John's desperate pleas for a grand alliance. His strategic vision was clear: a two-front assault to split Philip's formidable forces. He sought to unite old enemies and disgruntled vassals, forming an unprecedented coalition against France. The main thrust would come from the north, led by powerful allies ready to strike. Foremost among them, Emperor Otto IV, a long-standing rival of the French king. Otto saw an opportunity to assert his waning authority and strike a blow against Philip. King John's vast wealth, despite his struggles, was crucial in securing Otto's crucial allegiance. But the emperor was not the only piece in John's intricate, desperate puzzle. Powerful French vassals, notably Ferdinand, Count of Flanders, harbored grievances against Philip. Flanders, caught between 2 powerful monarchs, saw an alliance with John as a path to independence. Renaud of Boulogne, stripped of lands by Philip, also eagerly pledged his forces to John's cause. Mercenaries from Brabant and Lorraine swelled the ranks, drawn by English gold and a thirst for battle. The grand design was taking shape: a hammer from the north, an anvil from the west. John himself would lead a separate invasion from his remaining territories in Poitou. His personal arrival in France was meant to ignite rebellion among discontented nobles. Across Europe, the call to arms echoed, stirring dormant rivalries and new ambitions. Emperor Otto's imperial banners gathered, a massive force beginning its westward movement. Weapons were sharpened, armor polished, as the continent braced for the impending conflict. Logistics became paramount. Feeding and moving such vast armies was an immense undertaking. The sound of distant drums and marching feet began to ripple across the landscape. Reports of these massive troop movements soon reached the ears of King Philip Augustus. France was now surrounded, threatened by an alliance unlike any seen in generations. The sheer scale of the coordinated attack demanded an immediate and decisive response. Throughout France, a palpable tension settled. War was no longer a distant threat. The gathering storm was nearing its crescendo, promising an epic and bloody confrontation. 2 mighty forces, driven by revenge and ambition, were poised for a monumental clash. The stage was set for Bouvines, a battle that would forever alter the fate of Europe. King John, scorned and ambitious, eyed France. His grand strategy hinged on a daring southern offensive. His vision, a 2-pronged assault, north and south, crushing Philip II between allied hammers. The southern thrust was vital. It promised to divert French strength, opening a northern invasion window. John, forever infamous, sought redemption. Victory in France would rewrite his legacy, securing his throne. Europe held its breath. The stakes were immense: dominion over France, and the balance of power itself. In Poitou, King John mustered his forces: English levies, Aquitanian lords, and eager mercenaries. His primary objective: to secure Anjou and Brittany, vital territories contested for generations. From the south, he would threaten the heart of France, forcing Philip to divide his forces. This southern pressure was meant to draw Philip II's gaze away from the critical northern front. The ultimate goal: a coordinated pincer movement with Otto IV, trapping the French king, A diverse but fractious army. English longbowmen, Brabançon mercenaries, and Poitevin knights formed his vanguard. Logistical nightmares plagued the march. Feeding thousands across hostile terrain proved a monumental task. John's army pushed into French lands. Their advance was slow, met by wary eyes and prepared defenses. Local garrisons, loyal to Philip, offered tenacious resistance, slowing John's progress at every turn. The campaign quickly became a grinding affair. Each mile gained demanded immense effort and sacrifice. The formidable castle of Angers became John's first major test, a symbol of French resistance. Initial assaults saw some success. Angers fell, but not without a significant drain on John's resources. French resolve remained unbroken. Each captured stronghold seemed only to strengthen their overall defiance. John's forces, already fatigued, became dangerously extended. Supply lines grew fragile, morale began to waver. The pressure mounted. John needed a swift, decisive victory to justify his costly, slow advance. French intelligence, swift and accurate, reported John's every move. Philip initiated his counter-gambit. The young Prince Louis, Philip's son, rallied loyal forces to defend the southern territories. John soon faced a more unified and determined French response than he had ever anticipated. Small, stinging defeats and constant skirmishes eroded his army's confidence, draining their fighting spirit. The momentum shifted. John's southern offensive, once promising, began to visibly falter, losing its drive. The pivotal confrontation came at La Roche-aux-Moines, a formidable stronghold blocking John's path. Prince Louis, commanding a powerful relief force, advanced rapidly to challenge John's siege. John's mercenaries, unpaid and demoralized, refused to engage. Their loyalty had reached its breaking point. Faced with overwhelming odds and a mutinous army, John was forced into a humiliating, hasty retreat. The southern gambit was over. John's offensive collapsed entirely, a catastrophic failure for the Plantagenet king. The strategic repercussions were instant. John's defeat irrevocably altered the entire war's trajectory. With John in full retreat, the entire southern flank of France lay secure, unimpeded by English threat. Philip II, relieved of southern pressures, could now turn his full, undivided attention northward. The ambitious Allied pincer movement, once a grand strategy, now lay in tatters, utterly broken. John's blunder was profound. It directly set the stage for the decisive northern confrontation. Emperor Otto IV, unaware of John's collapse, was now dangerously exposed and isolated in the north. No longer could Otto expect crucial southern pressure to divide Philip's formidable French forces. Otto's strategic position, once part of a grand design, became desperately vulnerable and precarious. The Holy Roman Emperor was now left alone, far from home, facing the full might of France. King John's failed gambit inadvertently sealed Otto's fate, forcing a desperate, inevitable confrontation. Philip II, with renewed confidence, swiftly consolidated his forces, marching purposefully northward. Every veteran soldier, every available resource, was now funneled towards the northern threat. The path to Bouvines was now clear. French resolve was absolute, their target singular. The stage was set for a clash that would reshape medieval Europe, a truly decisive moment. The dawn of July 27th, 1214. A fateful day would soon break over the fields of Bouvines. Two formidable forces, French and coalition, converge on a collision course, altering Europe's destiny. The stage was set in Flanders, a crucial crossroads of power and ambition for rival kingdoms. King Philip Augustus, a master strategist, sought to solidify his kingdom's nascent power and future. His French army, a disciplined and loyal force, marched with grim determination towards their destiny. The battlefield itself, a deceptively gentle plain, would soon be stained crimson by the clash. The river Marque and its bridge became central, dictating critical strategic movements for both armies. Beneath a clear summer sky, the tranquil fields of Bouvines offered no hint of the coming devastation. Forests and small groves provided natural cover, allowing for sudden advances and flanking maneuvers. This open terrain, ideal for cavalry charges, promised a brutal, close-quarters medieval engagement. From the west, the French forces, led by Philip Augustus himself, approached the fateful plain. Discipline and experience defined the French command. Their knights were among Europe's finest warriors. The French infantry, primarily communal militias, marched with fierce loyalty, defending their homeland. The oriflamme, sacred battle standard, instilled courage and purpose in every French soldier's heart. Every hill and valley was scrutinized, as scouts provided critical intelligence for tactical positioning. From the east, a vast, diverse coalition army, brimming with national pride, advanced relentlessly. Emperor Otto IV, leading his imperial forces, sought to reclaim lost prestige and secure his crown. English, Flemish, and German heavy cavalry, an imposing alliance, promised a crushing assault on France. Despite their numbers, the coalition's diverse forces struggled for unity, a subtle underlying weakness. A tapestry of banners, symbolizing diverse loyalties, yet united by a common enemy. King Philip. Philip, seizing the initiative, orchestrated his deployment, aiming to leverage the terrain's advantages. The French formed 3 formidable battles, the left, center, and right, ready for engagement. Philip placed himself at the heart of his army, a king among his men, ready to lead. Archers and crossbowmen braced themselves, anticipating the order to unleash their deadly volleys. The French battle line solidified, a defiant wall of steel and courage facing the massive invasion. Otto, in contrast, struggled to impose coherence on his disparate, multinational command structure. The coalition's vast numbers spread wide, attempting to outflank the French, but risking dispersal. The Flemish knights, renowned for their ferocity, formed the coalition's aggressive left wing. Imperial Germans and English mercenaries massed in the center, a powerful but unwieldy fighting bloc. Despite their numbers, a flicker of uncertainty permeated the coalition's ranks, facing formidable opposition. A tense silence descended, pregnant with the anticipation of impending, brutal medieval conflict. Every man knew the cost of this day. Victory or defeat would define Europe's future. Suddenly, a solitary trumpet pierced the air, shattering the silence, declaring battle had begun. French light cavalry launched the initial probes, testing enemy lines, seeking weaknesses and opportunities. The sky darkened with arrows, a deadly prelude to the close-quarters combat about to erupt. Then, the ground trembled as heavy cavalry charges from both sides met with unimaginable force. Steel met steel, wood splintered, and the initial shockwave of the battle reverberated across Bouvines. The battle's true fury erupted, a cacophony of screams, steel, and the desperate cries of men. Individual skill and collective discipline faced the ultimate test in this brutal, unforgiving crucible. The French pikemen held firm, a bristling wall of steel, absorbing the coalition's relentless assault. Raw intensity defined every moment. Men fought not just for king, but for their very lives. On both sides, extraordinary bravery shone through the chaos, defying fear and overwhelming odds. The early exchanges were a maelstrom, a testament to the brutal, unyielding nature of medieval warfare. Bouvines had erupted into a full-scale conflagration, a pivotal moment in the shaping of Europe. As the afternoon wore on, the Battle of Bouvines reached its furious, bloody climax. This was the moment of truth, where fate itself would be decided by steel and courage. King Philip Augustus, the heart of France, rode fearlessly into the very thick of battle. He personally led his forces, inspiring every knight, every man-at-arms, to greater valor. The enemy knew. To strike down the king was to crush the very spirit of France. They converged on the oriflamme, the sacred banner, a beacon marking the king's presence. The coalition launched a desperate, focused assault, aiming to decapitate the French command. Philip stood firm, a king among his men, ready to face the storm head-on. Suddenly, a surge of German mercenaries, led by a Brabantine knight, broke through the lines. Their target was clear, the king himself. This was a direct, lethal assassination attempt. The impact was brutal. Philip's personal guard, though valiant, struggled against the onslaught. Philip fought with the ferocity of a lion, deflecting blows, defending his own life. Then, from the chaos, Gerard de Rhodes struck, aiming for the king's vulnerable horse. The cruel hook blade found its mark, fatally wounding Philip's magnificent warhorse beneath him. The king's mount bucked, then stumbled, collapsing beneath him in a horrifying, dusty heap. Unhorsed, the King of France, Philip Augustus, lay vulnerable, exposed amidst the swirling battle. A gasp of horror rippled through French lines. The king was down, surely at death's door. An enemy foot soldier, recognizing the fallen monarch, moved in for the killing blow. The very heart of France hung by a thread, just inches from utter, unimaginable catastrophe. But loyal French knights, witnessing the horror, reacted with immediate, furious bravery. They converged, a shield of steel and courage, determined to save their beloved sovereign. With shouts of "France Montjoie," they rallied, risking everything to pull their king to safety. A fresh mount was swiftly brought. Philip, though shaken, was back in the saddle. The near-death experience did not break him. It ignited a terrible, righteous fury within. The sight of their king, alive and fighting, unleashed a primal roar of defiance and renewed zeal. This was the turning point. The French, galvanized, launched a devastating, unified counterattack. Knights like Guillaume de Bar, renowned for their prowess, spearheaded the ferocious surge. Philip's superior tactics and the cohesion of his army began to overwhelm the coalition's disunity. The imperial forces, already faltering, buckled under the renewed, relentless French assault. Panic began to spread through the coalition's ranks. Their lines shattered, turning into a desperate rout. Emperor Otto IV, seeing his dreams crumble, was forced to abandon his imperial standard and flee. The French pursuit was relentless, cutting down those who fled, ensuring no quarter was given. Key leaders like Count Ferrand of Flanders were surrounded and captured amidst the chaos. His capture symbolized the complete collapse of the coalition's northern wing and its ambitions. Even the powerful Hugues de Boves, a master of mercenaries, could not escape the French grasp. Countless banners, standards, and ensigns of the defeated coalition were seized as war prizes. Philip Augustus stood victorious, a king who had defied death and crushed his enemies. A monumental victory, resounding across Europe, was secured on the dusty fields of Bouvines. The battle was over. The coalition's might shattered. France had faced its greatest test and prevailed. The unity and superior tactics of the French army proved decisive against overwhelming odds. Philip Augustus, the unhorsed king, had become Philip the Conqueror, securing his legacy forever. His personal bravery, his survival, ignited an unparalleled surge of French national pride. Bouvines was not just a battle, it was a refounding moment, a forging of the French nation. This decisive victory would forever redefine the political landscape and power balance of medieval Europe. King John, defeated and disgraced, returned to a kingdom in turmoil. The storm mirrored his broken spirit. No triumphant return, only the bitter taste of utter defeat. Bouvines irrevocably reshaped his reign. England's powerful barons, already wary, saw John's defeat as the ultimate betrayal and weakness. The vast sums expended on the failed campaign had bled the royal coffers dry, exacerbating unrest. His pride shattered, John faced an unprecedented crisis of authority. The crown's very legitimacy wavered. The barons, emboldened by his weakness, demanded concessions, fundamental changes to royal power. Across England, the seeds of rebellion were sown. The king's authority was crumbling piece by piece. From the ashes of Bouvines, a landmark document would soon emerge, forever altering English governance. Far from the battlefield, the Holy Roman Emperor Otto IV fled, a broken man abandoning his shattered army. His imperial dream lay in ruins. The once formidable power of the emperor was irrevocably lost. A desperate flight through the night, a king's ignominious retreat into the shadows of defeat. He sought refuge in his ancestral lands, Brunswick, but even there, true power had abandoned him. Pope Innocent III, seizing the moment, officially deposed the already weakened Emperor Otto IV. The stage was set for Frederick II. Otto's defeat paved the way for his rival's undisputed rise. From emperor to outcast, Otto's power dissolved completely. History moved on without his influence. His once bright imperial flame extinguished, Otto IV was left to a life of isolated political obscurity. The rebellious Flemish counts, captured on the field, faced the swift, brutal consequences of their defiance. Their wealth and power stripped away, they were reduced to mere prisoners, their fate sealed. A humiliating journey across France, a public display of Philip Augustus's decisive victory and dominance. Their destination, the dark, unforgiving cells of the Louvre, a symbol of French imperial power. Years of harsh captivity awaited them. Their defiance had cost them their freedom and their future. With its leaders imprisoned, Flanders was firmly brought under French suzerainty, its autonomy crushed. Bouvines had delivered swift, devastating consequences. Kings defeated, dynasties shaken, Europe forever rewired. The dust of Bouvines settled, yet its echoes reverberated far beyond the battlefield. Europe would never be the same. The crushing French victory triggered a cascade of events, reshaping kingdoms and redrawing the continent's political map. Bouvines proved that battlefield defeat could unravel dynasties and birth entirely new political orders across Europe. Humiliated, King John returned to England. His military ambition shattered, his treasury drained, his authority questioned. The defeat fueled a simmering discontent among England's powerful barons, weary of John's tyrannical rule and financial demands. They demanded accountability, a revolutionary concept, challenging centuries of absolute royal authority. The stage was set. At Runnymede, the rebellious barons confronted their king. There, the course of English law would be irrevocably altered. Cornered, John was forced to affix his seal to the Magna Carta, a charter of liberties that would reshape governance. This radical document curtailed royal power, enshrining rights that would echo through centuries of constitutional law worldwide. Meanwhile, across the Channel, Otto IV's imperial ambitions lay shattered. Bouvines dealt a fatal blow to his legitimacy. His defeat, orchestrated by Philip Augustus, signaled the collapse of his authority among the German princes. The princes, always wary of a strong emperor, quickly shifted their allegiances, seeking a more promising figurehead. Their eyes turned to the young, brilliant Frederick II, a Hohenstaufen rival patiently awaiting his moment to rise. Otto IV, utterly discredited by Bouvines and abandoned by his supporters, was formally removed from his imperial office. Frederick II, Stupa Mundi, now rose. A new, formidable force ascended to the Holy Roman imperial throne. In France, the victory cemented the Capetian dynasty's prestige. Louis VIII returned a hero, his claim strengthened. Bouvines confirmed France's dominance. The Capetian monarchy entered an era of unparalleled consolidation and expansion. The French kings systematically expanded their royal domain, bringing powerful feudal lords firmly under royal authority. New administrative structures, royal justice, and direct taxation began to replace the fragmented feudal system effectively. France emerged as Europe's leading power, culturally and politically. Its influence began to radiate across the continent. Bouvines laid the bedrock for a unified, centralized French state, a beacon of royal power for generations. The decisive shift was undeniable. England retreated into internal affairs, while France ascended to continental supremacy. Bouvines was more than a battle. It was a pivot point that fundamentally rewired medieval Europe, forging its future. Bouvines, 1214, a clash of empires, a turning point in history whose echoes resonate through centuries. This single engagement wasn't just a battle, it was a foundational moment for the nascent states of Europe. For France, Bouvines solidified its destiny, charting an undeniable course towards continental dominance and national identity. The victory cemented royal authority, paving the way for a powerful, unified French kingdom to emerge. Across the Channel, Bouvines shattered King John's ambitions, leading to profound, unforeseen consequences for England. His catastrophic defeat inadvertently propelled England toward a new internal trajectory, the path of constitutionalism. The barons, emboldened by John's weakness, demanded rights, fundamentally altering the fabric of English governance. Thus, Bouvines simultaneously forged France's dominion and redirected England's internal political evolution forever. One battle, fought on a humble plain, reshaped the very foundations of two of Europe's great nations. Its legacy is etched into the geopolitical landscape, a testament to the enduring power of a single day. Bouvines 1214, a battle that didn't just decide a day but determined the course of nations. Don't miss our next epic historical deep dive. Subscribe now for more untold stories from the annals of time. If you found this history compelling, please like and share this video with fellow enthusiasts. Your support fuels our mission to bring you the most cinematic and insightful military history analysis.